Nirav Sheth joining us, CEO, Institutional Equities, Emkay Global Financial Services. Nirav, what a good day to speak with you. We thought we must speak to you right after markets open, but even we didn't know which way it will go. So luckily, it's at least starting well. But I'm not going to get into the here and now with you. I'm going to ask you what you think about this whole SaaS apocalypse fear and Indian IT companies, because they have such an outsized impact on the Nifty. They seem to be dragging sentiment down with them. Are you in the camp that believes that they are being underestimated right now, the capabilities of these companies in the AI context?
No. I have a strong view that for the first time we are looking at a large sector getting disrupted. Please appreciate the fact that. So first of all, I'm an all-in believer in AI. Right, so some trillions of dollars of market cap is being created abroad. Unfortunately, we are not a part of that ecosystem at all, and that means that large part of the future profit pool is also going to shift to these companies, whether it's Meta, Facebook, you name it, and there'll be some stack of SLMs, and then eventually there'll be application players on top of that. So this is genuine, this is real, and one thing that we need to appreciate is that incremental innovations that happen in AI will be in disruptive, non-linear, and exponential, right? At a very fundamental level, the way I look at IT services is that you're moving away from an OPEX model to a CAPEX model, and that is usually disinflationary. I have no great idea what can happen in FY26 and 27. I think we see the peak employment in IT services, and it's very, very tough to change the business model. I am not going to take that call.
That argument, Nirav, and very good morning to you, Alex, here as well. It's not just the IT services companies, right? So the point that is being made is that they have plugins for the legal services, they have plugins for investment banking, they have plugins for wealth managers. So the question really is, how many sectors get disrupted in your opinion?
Yeah, so you need to be very careful, right? So I completely agree. It's not that I got all the answers. I think Make My Trip has lost about some 50-40% of the value because obviously what AI agents can do the ticketing itself. And the whole idea of the business model of, let's say, for example, a travel trip, if you want to call that, was that you access to consumer traffic. Now, if the traffic shifts away and, if AI bot is going to buy your ticket somewhere else, you need to question that. I was having a discussion with my team internally that this is going to happen in next 10 years, in our lifetime, that you will have, serious AI agents doing the teaching job, right? And which is 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and customized. And those teachers will be better than any teachers that you've got. What happens to the business model of education institutions, right? So I don't have all the answers. I know that there are sectors that are going to get disrupted. The only thing I would look at right now is that are there any sectors which are the wrong side of this? I call it revolution. It is genuine. It will take time. There is no doubt about it, but it is very real and it's happening.
Nirav, good morning. Hiral on this side. So clearly, you do have an overweight, I think, in terms of IT. The bouts of correction that have come in and the kind of underperformance that we've seen right now, would you be using to add positions when it comes to IT as a sector, number one? And two, when you're talking about the ancillary plays as well, which would those sectors be?
So, the model portfolio is run by my strategist. And like I said, people have their own views. And I'm speaking for myself as the CEO of the company. You can call this a sales call if you want to call it. I caveated in the beginning by saying that if any sector gets disrupted, I don't focus on valuations. I don't even focus on being a contra, right? I'll just let it play out, and I'll once you get more incremental data, we can take a call. I don't see a reason for any sharp pullback. You will have this cyclical buy-ups. So this is not fear. This is something real. And we need to be careful about that. And this has been happening for some time. Please understand that if you look at the last 2 years and if you look at the CC growth rate, right, of the Indian IT services, either in Europe or in US, it significantly underperformed their long-term averages. And the general narrative was always about uncertainty. US macro is not doing well. US macro was firing all the while. right? The GDP growth rates have been significantly ahead of expectations. It never percolated to IT spending. And there's a question that you want to ask. And now this is accelerating. So to answer your question, I am very happy to sit on the sidelines because I believe in the AI revolution. Sectors we'll have to, I'm not an expert, but we'll have to, we are very, very careful about this, and we are doing a lot of work to try and figure out what all can get impacted. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the revenues are going to disappear, right? So, IT services are doing a great job. They understand the legalities, the complexities, stuff like that. The profit pool, it is disinflationary. Secondly, your profit pool, existing profit pool can compress. And then you also need to share with these LLM players if you are going to use their models. I don't know how this is going to play out. It's negative for sure.
Okay, one question apart from IT, because even though this is the biggest narrative and taking up all of our mind space, but there is so much more going on, including what's happening with tariffs. So from what we've heard from the State of the Union address, what has been happening, also this US duty on solar component manufacturers that we've seen, it's seeming like we have slid back to the times of arbitrary tariffs. Is that something which the street will find jittery?
Well, we have to live with the fact that we'll be tariffed, right? So far, the only positive is that if everyone else is getting tariffed, it doesn't matter. Export is all about relative competition. So you're not worse off than anyone else. I think that in some of the sectors, China has probably become more competitive because I understand that their effective tariffs have actually come down from what it was prior to last Friday. So there could be some sector-specific issues over there. But to me, the fact that you sort of are in an agreement with US trade is a big hurdle that you have crossed already, because that reflexivity in terms of negativity was playing out on rupee depreciation, inflation, monetary policy, and stuff like that, which also leads to capital outflows. We by and large arrested that, and that's a positive. So whether it's 15%, 16%, I don't lose my sleep over that.